Hey, what's up? Welcome to DGenEd. That's degenerative education, meaning none of this is financial advice. Just me having fun looking at charts like the chart behind me, which is of GameStop, ticker symbol GME. And so I thought I'd start on this because Roaring Kitty did just post another tweet on Twitter or X, doing the reverse Uno card, and also did post an update on Superstonk on Reddit, noting that, basically he is the whale that has been buying GameStop $20 calls that expire on June 21st, which apparently, let's see, I'm just going to flip over to the web browser here. So this is from Geiger Capital, guy I follow on Twitter, and he posted that his GameStop position is currently worth $180 million. And so, yeah, so deep, DFV, posted on Superstonk, the Gamecock. And yeah, so he posted this update that, he's been buying all of these calls. And if we do look over at GameStop, not in Webull, but over in Robinhood, currently trading 19.19% up in the overnight 24-hour trading market at $27.58. And so that's, just below this purple line here. And let's see, it's up right around the close. Let's see. Yeah, it's right around the close of this day, May 16th. So price is right around where the cursor is, a little bit lower, but right around there. Actually, well, the low for that day, 27.59. So right around where the cursor is. It's up 27.58 in the Robinhood trading overnight, whatever trading. And because last time this was happening, there was a lot of volatility going up in GameStop, and my GameStop position is not in my Robinhood account, but since I can't do the overnight trading in the account where I hold GameStop, I put an order just by one share at $27.58. It has not filled yet, but I figured better to start the stream with the FOMO order than end the stream when potentially the price is a lot higher. Maybe it's lower, but it's one share, and that is basically from my daily dollar cost average crypto position. I just add a little bit to Doge, Bitcoin, or not Bitcoin, Doge, Ethereum Classic, Ethereum, and a couple others. And yeah, so I will probably have to either add more or pause some of those crypto buys. But, I thought I'd do it just for fun with GameStop. But anyways, yeah, I mean, if this is the bottom, if 1769 was the bottom, I had done this Fibonacci extension from this retrace coming down to like right around $18. And so from that, we could be seeing price potentially getting up to like 106, maybe this week, maybe the next. So yeah, I mean, even if it's up a little bit in after hours, I think it's going to go up more. And having a call option at the $20 strike for June 20. Let's see, I need to add a few more positions on here, a little bit more. We can see that the $20 strike price is worth $545 per contract. And so he apparently has so many of those that it equals 180 million. So yeah, and he's still holding them, so this, open interest, 144,000. A lot of that is, let's see here, is just a screenshot from it. I'm not sure about the rules as far as sharing images from Reddit. So, I'm just using the screenshot that somebody else took. And so he has, a position of 120,000. So that represents a majority of this 144,000. And so he's the whale that's been buying them. And, I think that things are going to be getting pretty crazy the next couple of weeks. So I'm excited about that. I hope you guys are too. But anyways, I don't want to spend too much time on GameStop. I do see that it was requested in the chat. But I also got a lot of requests for ASRT, so I'll go over that one, as well as PixelWorks. FOXO, I have not seen that one requested, so I will add that here. And since you did request in the chat, I am going to start with yours. If anybody has requests for tickers for me to go over, if you see them in the list on the left, make sure you request them in the chat, and then I will prioritize what's in the chat. And so I am going to start with ASRT. This is Assertio Holdings. I believe this is a therapeutics company. Well, it does look like a good risk at, I'm just going to type up because there's this heart emoji that blocks. At 1 share. Yeah, I don't have enough in my Robinhood account right now to do more than that. But yeah, I mean, why not? Just have fun if you're referring to GameStop. I have more in my other account, but I can't be adding to it. And we'll see, where price is in the morning when I can add to that. Anyways, I'm going to go over Assertio, ticker symbol ASRT. This is having closed on Friday at a price of 99.48 cents, being up almost 6.5% on the day, and continuing up just a little bit more after that. And so what we see here is a retrace to the golden pocket, pretty much beautifully landed in that on Thursday, and then has moved up higher, actually closing the week, the month, and the day, all of the above the 50% level. So this does look pretty good. I've gotten a lot of comments about this. And so sometimes I get a lot of comments, requests for things that don't necessarily look so good. This one looks really good because it did pull back to that golden pocket. I feel like downside risk from current level, let's see, maybe coming down to the 786, that's a 15% drop. So while I don't necessarily think that's going to happen, I think it's good to kind of have a plan if that does happen. And so that's at 84.38 cents. And then another thing that stands out to me with the chart is that we do have, a higher high here in the price, whereas in the RSI we see a lower high. And, following that, we did see a pullback. I think that's good. This is bearish divergence, seeing a higher high in the price, a lower high in the RSI. And so following that, you would expect a pullback. We've seen that pullback, and we've seen a pullback to a technical level, the golden pocket, which is the range from the 65% retracement up to the 618 or 61.8% retracement. That's range from about 91 to 93 cents. And if we do look at the chart, is there any significance to that level? Not too much price history. I don't really like that about the chart. Not too much to base levels on. But if we do look at, let's see, the 618 does correspond with the highs that were hit around January 29th, right around the end of January. And also, wick up here, consolidation over here, all corresponding with that golden pocket. If I throw up the volume profile, we can see that, looking at all of this, I'm not going to do all of the history, I guess, because it gets kind of blocky. But let's see if I do the history going back to here. So it should include everything more or less. Let's see, the point of control, which is this average. If I do click on the nut tool here, just so we could see the point of control is that middle one. That is above current price at a price of $1.07. So there's, 7% swing to the upside to get to that level. So good from that perspective. It does dip down to the volume average low, which is this line here. That is at like about 90 cents. And that represents, let's see, a 10% drop. And so maybe that is a risk to the downside. But yeah, I do think that this looks really good. I think people have talked about the squeezing. I'm not really sure. But as far as the chart goes, I think that the bearish divergence has played out to dropping to these levels here, bouncing from the 618. And, I say that it did return to the golden pocket. It did come down to that retracement. but we just saw a wick into it, but a close above the 618. So I think that looks really good. And we do see, let's see, volume did go up a little bit on this day. So volume has been, it was elevated when it came down. Let's see, almost 5% on Wednesday. But then it did flatten out down here when getting to the 618 and then going above, moving up. Volume's not too crazy high or anything, but volume did go up from about 423,000 to 588,000. On the note of volume being in the thousands, market cap is 900, about not 900, 95 million. So it's not too huge of a company. And yeah, but I think overall the chart, the bearish divergence looks like it's played out. It's come back to a technical level. Does look like it's respected it and reclaimed a level to the upside. So, with that being said, I should do a Fibonacci extension coming from the low here, just being approximate, coming up to the high here, and then down to here. And so this is approximately to the 65% level, or, I'll just do it to the 618, because then that should line up with the top. This is the 0% here from that retracement, going from the bottom here, which would be 100% retracement, going up to the top, it's a 0% retracement. And then doing this extension coming down to here, that 618 does line up with the top because it did pull back to 618. So that makes sense. Excuse me. And so with that, if we are to see it break past this prior high, we could see the 786 going up to 134. 100% is $1.45, and the 1618 is $1.77. So we actually haven't seen prices higher than the 52-week high, which was $6.50. That can't be right. It says 52-week high, $6.57. I don't understand that, but we could be seeing it getting up to above $1. Well, it's basically at $1 a share. We could see it getting up to $1.34. I think that seems pretty reasonable. So yeah, people have been requesting this a lot. Just because a lot of people want to see something doesn't necessarily mean it's going to play out that way. But I do think that this chart looks good, that it's respecting this level. And so I'd be watching for closes below 93 cents or 91.5 cents. If you do see that, then I'd be looking for a dip to 84, 85 cents. So keep that in mind. But yeah, those are my thoughts on ASRT. So hopefully that was helpful. And so, yeah, Sean was talking about GameStop. Yeah, so, let's see. I'm just going to pull it up on, I guess I'll switch over to it here. So we're looking at it even though it's not showing anything. But let's see. Yeah, it's just been flat at 27.58 on Robinhood. I placed an order for overnight trading that's placed. Excuse me. And it's not doing anything. So, yeah. But, I'll have to assess in the morning probably. I have work at the crack of dawn, and so I'll be up before work to see what's going on in the pre-market and to figure things out. I'm probably really just going to be figuring out, calls I want to buy on NEO around their earnings. I just think that's an exciting play and good to be, building on my conviction in that play. And I have tons of AMC, so I'm not too concerned about that. GameStop might be adding some more to it just to have some fun with it. Don't have a terribly large position. Wish I had a larger one, but it is what it is. And hey, Jose, what's up? Stop loss protection. So, yeah, as far as GameStop, if you wanted to have stop loss, I feel like stuff like GameStop, AMC, especially right now, there can be a lot of volatility. So tough to, enter something like this with a stop loss, because then, there could be a violent move to the downside and then it goes up higher. And then also dealing with losses and stuff like that. I think that GameStop will be going to $100 a share. You could do like a trailing stop loss or something if you wanted to protect gains as something as the price goes up. But yeah, I mean, I think that this is going to be going to like $100 a share. And AMC, like I've said, 44, probably higher than that. I tend to be conservative with my estimates for these because it's just very tough to predict. And usually it's just like a wick, like a couple minutes above a level. But yeah, yeah, as far as ASRT stop loss level, I mean, I don't think, like, I'm not too concerned about this one coming down too much. 84, 30, like, so maybe 84 cents, that'd be below the 786. But then that could be, a nice dip buying opportunity. So I feel like if the thesis is this is going to squeeze, usually before a squeeze, there's kind of like a pullback. So, or that's what I gather. So yeah, like here you see this move up and then it pulls back even lower. It's like maybe people had stop losses at the lows here. If it goes below 75 cents, close the position, and then it wicks below 75 cents. And then if there would have been a stop loss there, that would have been a miss out on like a 70% move. So yeah, I think stop losses can be tricky, especially when dealing with stuff that's super volatile. And yeah, I will add Mullen to this, and also I see CISS. So I will add those here, and Mullen. And but I am going to make sure I get the other ones. PixelWorks was requested, and FOXO. So I'll look over at those probably pretty quick. Don't want to spend, yeah, I've got work tomorrow morning, so I can't be spending too much time. But yeah, here we have seen a full retracement. The low over here was $1.01, $1.01, and we hit a low of 94 cents. Had this massive gap down that actually gapped over this gap to the upside. And so to fill that gap, let's see, the close, because you want to go from the closes for gaps. It's $1.87, so that's actually towards the top of this candle. So that's, I don't know, an 80% swing from current price, something like that. 75. And let's see. Yeah, I mean, so we did see a break below. Let's just think about this kind of like psychologically. We see a close below that level, and that's down 11% on the day. We see volume increasing, and then we see this inverted hammer getting rejected from that level, 101. We see this hammer candle, let's see, closing at 101, so right on that level. Another inverted hammer. This one we get a close above. And so this one actually, yeah, I mean, I think that this is, yeah, because here we see a close below that level, but do we have confirmation? Confirmation would be a second close below the low hit on this day. So this day, May 23rd, the low was 94.1 cents. We don't see any closes lower than that. So there's a break below this level, but there's not a confirming close. Just one close. You need two to confirm that break of the level. And so here we see a close. It's actually, what would be really nice is to see a close above the high from the 23rd, which was $8.5. Got pretty close to that with the close on Friday, but that did reclaim the level, and also the close was above all of these prior, wick highs. So I think that this does look like the bottom could be in. And let's see, I'm going to adjust this to 308. Let's see, 308, because that's the high that was hit on, let's see, this day, which was March 6th. And so from that, see this pullback, full retracement, and then I might do this, which I think will, the 50% is going to be the same or pretty close. Yeah, so from this, yeah, the 236 lines up nicely with the 786 and that gap here, and then getting back to the 382 or the 618, that would be getting close to filling this gap here. And so I could see this having like a pretty casual, let's see, just to filling this gap here, 75%, and maybe it bumps into resistance around here that's 40%. So yeah, this looks like a pretty nice swing. And for me, one of the things that I like about this is that it is above $1 when a stock price for me in my like Webull account, if it goes below $1 a share, I have to buy in 100 share increments. But with this, I could buy, 1, 10, 20, whatever it is. So I think it's nice that it's above $1. And I do think that this could definitely be moving back up here. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a pretty cool chart. It does look like, this would be scaring a lot of people out of position. It's gotten a close below this low. That's, was that the all-time low? 52-week low was 94 cents. And if we look at all of the history, I don't know, I have to maybe adjust this back. No, not the all-time low, but that is definitely the 52-week low. So over the past year, lowest low was 94 cents. Seems like a pretty good dip buying opportunity with this gap to the upside. I mean, really, look at the volume profile. Just from all of this trading going back to basically more than a year ago, or if we just look at, let's see, I'm not sure. Range I could do here. So just looking back to a year ago, we can see that from this volume profile, prices well below not only the point of control, but also the volume average low. And so even just getting back to that volume average low from current price, that is a 50% swing. So yeah, I think that there's a lot of great potential with this stock. And it's technically not really a penny stock. It's trading 6 cents higher after hours. It's at 106. So yeah, cool chart. I appreciate the request. I feel like this could be a pretty nice swing. I wonder, yeah, I mean, what are the options like? It's probably not too exciting. But yeah, just out of kind of curiosity, it's only monthly contracts. So if one was to, expect price to go above, or to fill this gap, I should say, to go above 180, an in the money call option that's intriguing, let's say for June 21st. I don't know necessarily what the time frame is for this going up, but for this to, an in the money call option for June 21st is, $25 per contract. That's a $1 strike. So currently trading 7 cents above that. And, yeah, I mean, so it's a risk of $25. And if it does go up to like 2, let's say, that could potentially go up to, worth $1 or, it's $100. So potential to swing or turn $25 based on this into 100. So that's a 300% or 3x gain. Or is that a 4x? Yeah, I think it's, I don't know. Turn 25 into 100. So multiply that by 4. And yeah, so I am going to catch up on the comments. And so Jose, I do see yours on CISS. So but I should go over Foxo, but I'm going to do CISS first. And I'm just going to catch up on the comments. Let's see. Okay, so Sean says, more people need to watch you. Some stuff people can learn from. I appreciate that. To be honest, I think it says in the description of this channel, this is just like, a trading journal for me, just going over trading ideas, ideally in and out setups, stuff like that. Usually they're just in setups and then the outs don't always work out. But this is just like me learning, and the more charts people request, the more stuff I go over, and just learning and ideally earning. And so I appreciate that comment. Yeah, it's just like I wouldn't do this much charting if I was doing it only for myself. So the channel really helps me with that. And yeah, and I'm trying to think more about in the money call options that are dated, weeks in advance. And that I really started to think about that because of apparently Roaring Kitty placing all of those $20, so in the money strike GameStop calls that expire on June 21st. And then it's like, oh, well, I mean, that's suggesting that price will go higher because they're not selling those calls. They're holding them. That's open interest. And yeah, so I have a call option on AMC, on American Airlines, looking to get some on Neo, maybe Plug Power. GameStop, unfortunately, is probably a little too much out of my price range right now, but you got to work with what you have. And then also I see Sean following up. I understand the basics, so I understand enough to understand. Hell yeah. And then Jose, what's up? How's it going? And AMC Hawkeye, just buy the dip both ways. I agree. And yeah. And so now I see Horatio saying that Mullen knocked the air out of me with all the reverse splits. Yeah, that one's like a pretty a tricky one, but I will go over Mullen in just a minute. And then I'm going to continue with the comments just so I'm caught up. Future AMC millionaire holding 30,000 shares. David, sounds like you're going to be a winner. And GameStop above 27 on Robinhood. Yeah, it's kind of frustrating though because it's been, let's see, at 27.58 is what I saw last. And oh, maybe it's no. Yeah, I placed an order to I don't have much in my Robinhood account right now. I placed an order to buy one share at 27.58 and it has not filled. And it's for like overnight trading. So that's kind of annoying, but whatever. I see some stuff. I see some crypto going up. If some of my positions are green, maybe I'll sell them so I could buy more GameStop or something. But yeah, I mean, I think that this week and next week, maybe the top would be around earnings for GameStop. Maybe not. Maybe it would continue after earnings. But yeah, or by top, I mean a intermediate top. I think it might maybe pull back and then before the next leg up. But yeah, it's going to be a pretty exciting week and probably another week after this one as well with their earnings. So, and so let's see, been averaging down. Mullen praying for a squeeze. So yeah, I'll go over Mullen in just a second. And GameStop above 27 if you can. Sober. Yeah, I did have Sober on the list, but then I did remove it. I'm not, because I wasn't sure if it was on here. And so I'm just going to clean up some of the ones that I have gone over. And PixelWorks I did. And so I could delete that. And yeah, so I am first going to go over CISS though, and then FOXO. And so CISS, let's see, this is C3IS, ticker symbol CISS. This had a recent reverse split, 1 for 100. When stocks do like more than 1 for 10 reverse split, I feel like it gets kind of sketchy because it's like, yeah, this, like, 111, that's like the 52-week low, is it? Yeah, that would have been, 1 for 100. So that's pretty crazy. 1 for 100. So this, you move the decimal place over 2 places, that would have been 1 penny, 1.11 penny. So this one seems super risky to me. And, from that low, price is already up, excuse me, a good amount. From the high, 76, to the low, it's like 60%. Maybe it goes higher. I don't know anything about the fundamentals. The stock market cap is 10.47 million. Let's see, have there been other? Yeah, so I don't know. This one is like outside of my risk profile. This one would be too risky for me. What we see here, lower highs in the price. And we also see, actually, no, we see a higher wait, so yeah, lower highs, but with the RSI, we see a higher high. And so that's inverse bearish divergence. And yeah, I just be careful with this. I guess, like 111, maybe that's a good stop loss level because, maybe it does form a bottom around there. Maybe it forms a double bottom or something, but that's like getting into uncharted territory. Once you get into uncharted territory, there's just no telling where the bottom's going to be because it's like over here, the lows were around $11, after, adjusting following this reverse split. And then it's like over here, okay, yeah, I mean, there's a double bottom, so maybe it's going to go higher. But then you take a measurement from that point. Let's see. Oh, crap. From this point down to here, 92% drawdown, or I guess maybe I'm being too aggressive there. 88%, 90% drawdown in the position. So, yeah, I mean, I feel like this is pretty risky. If one was to assume that this is the bottom, let's see. Trying to think. Just do a Fibonacci retracement. Let's say it's from the top there to the bottom here. It needs to get above $2.15. And that would also, what really it needs to do, you need to see closes above these wick highs. So the high on April 12th was $2.25. The high on April 17th was $2.25. Gotten 2 wicks to that level, but couldn't get to it. Need to see a close above that level. And basically, until you see a close above, until you see a close above 225, there's nothing to suggest that this is going to go higher. It could just be, bumping into resistance there and then fading more. So that, I feel like you need that close to then suggest, okay, there is some momentum that we haven't seen since before April 12th, since before the reverse split. So that's what I would look for, a close above 225, no matter what gambling. But if there is a close above 225, maybe then this gap could be filled. And that's with a close of 288. And so let's see. Yeah, from, this level up to 288, that represents a 27% swing. So maybe that's worth it. But, just keep in mind that, this potential double bottom over here did not pay off in the end. So be careful with it. And since that was requested, I'm going to add it to the DGen ed list, but I'm going to delete it from here and move on to FOXO. So that was requested earlier on. And I do see that Jose has a comment. Just look at EPS. I always need to check comments before I remove something. Earnings per share. I don't know where it says up here, but let's see. Analysis, nothing. Yeah, I mean, it's a Greece-based entity incorporated in Marshall Islands, primarily engaged in seaborne transportation services to dry bulk charter for both national and private clients. The company acts as a as a holding company and operates through its 2 subsidiaries. The company's fleet consists of 2 handy-sized dry bulk carriers, Eco Bushfire and Eco Angel Bay. And so, yeah. I mean, maybe this is very, very much undervalued, but it seems pretty risky. So I can pull up I don't really look at earnings per share too much, but let's see, CISS earnings per share. Let's see. So this is 24. So yeah, so I think it's, my opinion is it's risky, but you can you can do whatever you want with it. And so, I mean, I feel like for me, it would become less risky if there was a close above 225, not at 225, above 225. And so those are my thoughts on that. And I'm just going to type up so I can see Ricardo's request. And hey, Ricardo, what's up? And hey, Kevin, sorry I didn't say hi earlier, but I did add Sober to the list. Could you glance at EH and CRM, please? Yeah, we'll add them to the list. EH. I used to hold some of them, and I was a bag holder, and I closed my position. I haven't looked at that chart in a while. But yeah, I mean, I think that Chinese stocks, I believe EH is a Chinese company. I think could be ready to be taken off. I'm really excited about NEO. So, but yeah, I will go over Foxo. I think that, I got the first comments, first requests, and then let's see, CISS. And so I haven't gone over Foxo though. So yeah, I should do this. So we saw a 39, almost 40% move on Friday, and let's see. Yeah, so big volume, and we do see higher highs in the stock price, which does correspond with higher highs in the RSI. So there's no bearish divergence there, so that's good. And one thing that, I've really noticed about some of the tickers that were really talked about in the Discord, I forget which ones. My brain's just fried with, I look at so many tickers. Maybe I could pull up some from penny stocks. Maybe this was one. No. G-Wave. No. I'll have a couple examples that SMX. No. Kraken maybe. Nope. Man, I don't know which one. Cause crap. Yeah, maybe I'm drawing a blank on whatever I'm looking for. There are just too many stocks. Maybe. Yeah, there's some that you guys were talking about a bunch in the Discord. Drawing a blank on it. Let's see. Peggy, no. Where it's like there's a pullback and then it's very clear. Man, I'm not sure which ticker. There were a couple though, but yeah, I'm just drawing a blank. And so I'm going to switch back to requests. And so I'm going to delete CISS and Foxo. So, this makes me think that maybe there could be a pullback, and then, that would be a good dip buying opportunity, though it is up 7% in the after hours from Friday. And so maybe this could be, just the momentum just starting. And so, yeah, I mean, like, let's see these big moves back here. Yeah, and so, like, I think this is kind of a nice example. Maybe it's something like this, so it's not a great example. But with this one where you see a big candle, the following day there was some overlap. And so I think it's like good to wait for that, wait for a pullback, although, close here. And yeah, so let's see. I should have just hit the arrow. So yeah, I mean, there's a gap up. So I mean, maybe the lows here, the close here, which was 34.07 cents. Maybe that's a good level to add if one wanted to establish a position. Maybe the close 47.53 would be a good level to add. And maybe, if one wants to be YOLOing into this, FOMOing into it, whatever, it gets to be FOMO. YOLO is $10,000. I didn't realize that, at least $10,000. I've realized that for a while, but I use the phrase YOLO pretty liberally. I should, so if one wanted to FOMO into this, maybe, 51 cents, that's lower than the high from Friday, so maybe 51 cents is a good level to establish the start of a position. and then maybe to add a little bit more at the close, 47.53, and then maybe, if there's to be a gap fill, to be able to add more there. So I think that's kind of like a good strategy for it. That's what I would think. And what we see over here is kind of like a double top, really like quadruple top with those wicks up there. Maybe that would be a good level to, add to a position as well. And so this is just approximately overlapping with all of those wick highs. It's at like 44 cents. So maybe that's another level. And if we do throw up the volume profile, yeah, and that's actually, I guess like if I adjust it enough, the volume average high for this entire range is like 43 cents. So that corresponds pretty nicely with that line that I drew. But, and maybe that's another level that's good to be adding at. 41 cents, somewhere around there. So yeah, I think that there are a number of levels to be able to average into a position if it's to pull back. And if it doesn't pull back, then there's at least like a starter position at 51 cents or whatever price may be at. So yeah, I could see this being a pretty nice way to average in. If it pulls back, maybe your average would be around 42 cents in the end, and then, it could take off. So yeah, I think it's an interesting chart that it has broken out. I think that there could definitely be a lot of momentum with it this week. But I'm going to remove that volume profile. I'm going to add this to the DGen ed list. I'm going to delete it from here. And then I believe Mullen is the next one on the list. And before actually I should have checked the comments before deleting Foxo. But I am just going to catch up on the live chat. I think actually I did catch up. Yep, so I'm all caught up in the live chat. And I am going to go over Mullen for Jose. So I'll do that here. And so this one, yeah, it looks like it broke out of this. And let's see, interesting. When did this break out? It's the 29th and then the 8th. When was the big move? Yeah, so it's not corresponding with GameStop or AMC or anything like that. But let's see. We do have higher highs hit here, which corresponds with the lower high in the RSI, and then we have seen a pullback. And this was like just getting like a series of rejections from like $7, all those wick highs, and pulling back. With this pullback, I think this could be interesting. Let's do a retracement from the low here from April 22nd. So that's right there. $2.35.7 up to the high of $7.85 right there. Lock that into place. And I'm actually going to add the 100 and 0 levels just so it's clear where the retracement's coming from. And so price pulled back to almost the 786, hitting a low on Thursday, May 30th of $3.61. So being about 7-8 cents above the 786, which is at $3.53, with a little bit of penny fractions, $3.53.3. And now it has reclaimed the 618, closing the week above that level, which is at $4.45.5. So looking good there, although during the after hours trading, it has pulled back to $4.37. But that is still in the golden pocket above the 65% retracement. So I do think that is looking pretty good. And so one thing that we can do, if that bottom is to be in, if we're going to assume that it is in, we can look to a Fibonacci extension to see where price could be going. And so it's just approximate coming down to, what was that low? 61. Just almost there, just approximate. But let's see, if that's the bottom and price is to go higher, maybe, yeah, so that 100% level up here, around $9 a share. So it's basically a 2x from current price. So maybe there's that. But yeah, this is, I think, 250, one for 100. And I believe there's another reverse split in the past for, I think, let's see, this was 1 for 9. That was not enough. And this one I think is 1 for 25, which ends up being, you know, more than 250, because this one was 125 and then like 9. So yeah, I mean, maybe this is looking good since it has pulled back to this level. But I feel like Mullen is a pretty, excuse me, a risky one. But it does look like maybe the 786 has acted as support. It's closed above the 618 for the month, you know, so that's good. And it was up over 16% on Friday. So yeah, I guess I'd look for, you know, the next levels, which would be a close above $4.90. That's a 236. The 382 would be $5.70. 50% here, $6.35. And really here getting up to $7 a share. Of course, that's going to be a pretty notable one. So yeah, I mean, maybe there are some nice swing opportunities from, let's see, the 618 up to that level. It's like a 50% swing up to $7. Let's see, let's more than that, or it's less than that. It's 450. Yeah, to like $9 would be that'd be a 2x. Yeah, so I guess 50% to like 7. I don't know. I'm not good at mental math. So yeah, up to there, it's like 50%, because that's like 450. So it's like adding a little more than 225 to get to $7. So yeah. So maybe there's something there. I do think that this looks good, but I'm just very cautious of Mullen. But yeah, I mean, from here, from 235, 237, that's an upside of over 200%. So that's pretty nice. And I mean, so this moved, let's see. I mean, from like the lows here getting up to 9, that's 150%. Yeah, I mean, I could see this going up to 9. I could see it 2xing from current price, but I think it's also risky because of all that dilution they've been doing, all those reverse splits. But yeah, I mean, maybe it could get up to, you know, these levels here. Who knows? But yeah, I think that this does look like it could be a bottom. So looking better than I expected. So I'm just going to catch up on the comments. So hopefully that was helpful. And yeah, and there's going to be an ad coming up in like 13 seconds, but I'm just going to add what's been requested. So I'll update this if that does interrupt, so you guys aren't going to be missing anything. And so what's up, John? How's it going? And yeah, and Ricardo, well, I'll respond to your comment in just a second in case there is an ad up. But yeah, I got Mullen there, so I'm going to delete that. And I will add plug since that was mentioned. And I will add square or block, I should say. There's definitely going to be time. Don't worry, John. Yep. And so, yeah, glad everybody's here. And I'm just going to scroll up to the top. And on the note about plug power looking similar to AMC, yeah, that's one thing I actually feel like it looks a lot like very similar to GameStop's, and that they've both been in these like really massive wedges and they've broken out. And so I feel like plug is, you know, I don't necessarily think they're like sympathy plays. I just think that it's like, you know, whether it's hedge funds or whoever has been shorting these stocks, or, you know, it's just the pattern that's played out that algorithms are now flipping from more heavily short to more heavily long, and that's what's driving these squeezes. And so I just feel like it's probably more so just that like the algorithms are flipping to then be more bullish on these charts. And so yeah, I think plug looks really interesting. I want to buy some calls on plug, but yeah, I gotta wait until I get paid on Friday. And so I'm just gonna scroll up to see all of the comments. So I have done Mullen, And let's see what the next ones are. Uh, Ehang, I believe, is EH and CRM. So I'll go over those real quick. And I did mention, I don't know if it was Kevin, I forget who was, I think it was Kevin, was mentioning Samuel Adams, Boston Beer. I assume that's what Boston Beer is. So I can go over that chart, but just let me know in the chat if you want me to. I also do have Fever up here that we did chat about. But let's see, what stock am I looking up? EH. So yeah, Ehang. So this, I expected this to be more like a wedge or something. I switch over to the weekly time frame. This is like when I was buying it, I imagine, or had a position back here on these levels, these purple lines. So hopefully those levels all disappear. And so, yeah, what do I see with this chart? This is on the weekly time frame. Let's see. So, This is tough because it's like, looks like maybe this is like a giant bull flag, but it has been, this is like a double top getting wicks above this level, getting rejected though. And then this, just pushed it even more down. That's around their earnings. So there's a drop of 11%. And now it's, maybe there's, let's see, I'm just going to do a retracement from the high here before earnings to this low. And what, oh man, I want to get to the penny. What was the high here? High 40. Just try to get it perfect. I'm just going to adjust it here. All right, so this is on there, and it looks like, it's rejected from the 382. So I would expect this to pull back to the 236 around 1650 or 1643 is specifically what that level is. And then that will be like testing this consolidation as support. And then so from there, then maybe it could move to the next level higher. But this spinning top, that big wick above the 382, but closing below it, so the 382 is at 1719. That's a key level to be closing above. So maybe this is a fake out, this spinning top that we see, and maybe we do see some bullish moves tomorrow. I'd look for a close above 1719. And if that can't happen, I'd expect to pull back to 1643. If it respects that level, then I think it could make a push higher, like to getting to the 50% level. That's at 1780. So, I expected this to be in more of like a falling wedge pattern, and that's not what it looked like. So I'm kind of surprised by that. And yeah, I mean, there might be some trend lines that could be drawn here to connect some of these levels. But just looking at this retracement, I think it needs to pull back to 1643 unless it looks really strong, bullish green beginning the week. And then if it reclaims 1719, then I think it could be going up to 1780 without a pullback to 1643. So hopefully that's helpful. And I will add this one to the DGen Ed list. Not that that has any significance because I don't really follow that list too much. I just add stuff here. So I'm just catching up. Kevin, Sam looks good for a dip buying opportunity, but looks like room to fall. So I'll catch up on that chart once I've gone over some of the other ones. And John's just saying, I assume you already went over AMC. On the weekly chart, it looks like the last two candles have closed inside the giant wick from the first week. The memes move probably, I just got to type up because there's a stupid heart emoji in the way. Closed inside of the giant wick from the first week. The memes moved. Probably the top of wick is tested. And so, I haven't really... since I put out the AMC and GameStop videos on Friday, I did start the stream on GameStop because of Roaring Kitty. And so I don't know if you're aware, if you saw it earlier in the video, but Roaring Kitty has posted another meme, the reverse Uno card, and also shared with everybody. I can pull it up. Let's see. This is just a screenshot from Superstonk. DFV is Roaring Kitty, and he just updated his YOLO today that he has been the whale buying $20 strike not covered calls, long calls with the $20 strike for GameStop expiring June 21st. And so that's 120,000 positions. And we can see, let's see, if I flip over to Webull and flip over to GameStop, we can see that the options expiring June 21st, you can see here these are calls, and the $20 strike, that has an open interest of 144,000. So Roaring Kitty basically represents 120,000 of that, 144,000 as far as I understand. So I think that GameStop, AMC, I imagine Plug Power as well, will be moving in the coming week. So probably the next 2 weeks, I would imagine. But I will go over AMC because you did mention the weekly time frame. And so, yeah, I mean, this actually, what was the open from 2 weeks ago? The open was $4.35. We actually closed below that. So this is actually on the weekly time frame. This is a bearish engulfing candle, but bearish engulfing candles don't necessarily mean prices going down, because I think a lot of it's just like momentum. And what we see with this, with the volume, is, while we saw this big move up, but then it did, pull back a good amount. We saw a lot of volume traded on that week, 1.7 billion shares traded. And then over here, massive reduction in volume, but we did see price go up. And with that volume over that week, 300 million shares, about 304 million shares traded that week. Price went up 10%. And then we did see here a pullback of about 10%, 10.5%, but a reduction in volume. But it's really it's not that massive of a reduction because last week was a 4-day trading week. But relative to this big move, yeah, I mean, it's a pretty big reduction. And so I just think with what's going on with GameStop, Roaring Kitty, and really GameStop closed the week above max pain by over $2. AMC closed their max pain. AMC's max pain was $4.50. It did close a little bit below it. But, that doesn't mean that, and also because Roaring Kitty's posting this week, doesn't necessarily mean these are going to rally this week. But I do think that come the monthly expiration for contracts for calls, I think that they'll both be running. And so for me, what I did, I may end up adding to it because I am a little bit negative. So for June 21st, I did get a call with a $3 strike just because price is well above $3. And I believe the max pain is at lowest $4, maybe $4.50. So I feel pretty safe that AMC is not going to be closing below $3. And so this to buy is, costs $150. I bought a call with a strike of $3 that expires June 21st for this price. The buy price was $1.90, so times 100 shares, that's $190. And so, that's just one contract. I'm risking $190, nothing too crazy. For me, for the most part, my positions aren't really that large, although I do have a pretty large position in AMC. I'm just trying to get better at playing calls, doing options, and trying to swing those to make some money. Because I just feel like that's a better way to get exposure to 100 shares rather than spending $433 to get exposure to 100 shares. Buying an in-the-money call seems like a safe bet, especially with max pain. We can look up that over here. I just go to this website, maximum-pain.com, and then I just type in the ticker here, whatever I want to put in there. And so AMC, and so max pain, it'll, let's see, just loading, I guess. Man, got some bug bites on my neck. That's why I keep poking myself. So for this coming week, max pain for AMC, $4.50. And then max pain for the following week, $4. And then for the 21st, that is $4 again. So yeah, I mean, I feel pretty safe that AMC is going to be closing above $3 a share. And with that being the expiration being 3 weeks in the future, I'm fine. Like maybe AMC runs to like $20 a share, $40 a share in the next couple weeks. I'm just going to hold this call until it gets close to expiration. Maybe I'd even exercise it. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it's just kind of a fun way to get to know the charts better and to partake in the volatility. And so, yeah, I mean, I think that call option, especially with Roaring Kitty being so heavy into GameStop with the strike of 20 for June 21st, I think they're both going to be rallying a bunch. And so, and it's just one contract, so it's nothing crazy. Because I am still fairly new with options. I covered calls a lot, but you know those can also be very risky too. And so I'm just catching up on. So I did Mullen, was chatting about AMC, and I did go over Ehang, so I will go over CRM, which I believe is Salesforce. And all I have to say, man, before this stream, I was watching the Fever play. They're sponsored by Salesforce. I've never been into women's basketball before, but I am now. And it was not that great of a game. But anyways, Salesforce for the Fever. And yeah, so Salesforce came down, or went up, I should say, 7.5%, closing the week at 234.44. And but you know that was following this massive move to the downside. And actually this, you know, strikes me as, you know, kind of similar to what happened with American Airlines. I have a call that I bought on them that expires in July, I think. And just to swing that, I feel pretty good about it. But it's kind of a similar thing. There's a big drop, not around earnings, but I think for like pre-releasing or, you know, letting forewarning about their earnings, I guess, and then price dropped. And so here with Salesforce, price dropped following their call. And let's see, just getting a measurement. I don't need a measurement. I can just go hover over this, like down about 20% and then going up 7.5%. Yeah, so the thing about American Airlines, I'm just going to pull it up as an example. The reason why, you know, I felt like it was good to buy this dip, and you know, maybe I end up losing money on it, who knows, but it's because there were all these gaps down here. Those gaps are pretty much all filled now, and also because there is this long-term, if I switch over to the weekly, long-term support going back to I believe 2008. Yeah, and so there have only been like very short-lived breaks below that level, and so that makes me think, oh well, price could go higher, so I'll, you know, buy a call that is in the money, $10 strike. I don't feel like there's much risk in price going below 10 because over here, this low is 1086. And so I mean, there's this long-term support there. I think it's a pretty safe bet. So I think I could make, you know, couple $100 on this if it goes from, you know, current price, let's say right around 12, and then goes back up to, this is like 13.45 to fill that gap. It's like a $2 increase. That translates to about $200 in options. So, I mean, I feel really good about that one. I think it's a really cool video. Nobody really likes American Airlines, so it's kind of boring, I guess. But yeah, Salesforce. Let's look at this. Maybe there's kind of like a similar long-term trend line that we could look at that might give us, I don't know. Maybe, yeah, so there is some stuff. So maybe we could look at that. So just go on approximate low. Actually, maybe this is what I want. This is just approximate. Yeah, I mean, I could see price. Those are the pivot points. I could see price going lower. It does look like this was kind of like respected over here, bounced here. I could see it making a head and shoulders pattern. But that's, you know, very, like, you got to let the charts tell you, not tell the charts. So I'm just going to delete these old drawings. And might have to sneeze. I'm going to mute myself. I said excuse me, but it was muted. So yeah, let's see over here. Maybe, yeah, I mean, because even if I do adjust that, it's like just lowering that. Maybe from these pivot points, yeah, maybe this is something that's reassuring that, there was a bounce there, and so maybe it'd be returning to that. Let's see, maybe I could do something with these points. This is coming from the highs here. Here's being approximate. That suggests lower price, so not that good. There is something over here, though. Maybe, yeah, actually. I don't know if I want to do this as a parallel. I think I'll try a parallel. I don't do parallels too often. But so like from over here to over here, so just kind of like letting that wick go above it. I think that looks pretty cool. And so, yeah, I mean, this to me, you got these two pivot lows, and you got this parallel channel. I mean, there's a fake out break above it here before this massive move down, fake out break below it, and then massive move up, pull back and retest, bounce up here to a double top effectively, and this is putting in a higher high, whereas with the RSI, you're putting in a lower high. So it's bearish divergence. Price comes down massively, kind of jumps around when it's getting in that range of the top and bottom of that channel, breaks lower, gets rejected from this uptrend line before pulling back, then breaking above, bouncing in that channel. So, I mean, maybe this is a test of that, and this is on the weekly time frame, so maybe I want to switch over to the daily. And so with that being said, I could see price coming down to like 207, maybe 200. I mean, because let's see, 200. Yeah, 200 is getting below that. I could see price coming down. And so, yeah, I mean, and also too, like you have this massive move down, this big gap down, you have volume up super high. And then price goes up, volume's less than it was here. So, I mean, I think that this could fade and pull back. So I'd be cautious with it. I really like, when looking at this on the weekly time frame, so it's, longer time scale, I really like this channel, and this parallel channel could be adjusted, it could be tweaked. I just drew it kind of approximately, but I find it compelling. So I could see a retest coming down to like 200 to 210. That's lower than current price. But yeah, so hopefully that's helpful. And I'm going to add that to the DGen ed list. I'm going to delete it from here. I'll move on to the next ticker. Let's see. And so plug, I will look over plug. And so Robert's saying DFV said it'll do it myself. GameStop, AMC to the moon. Yeah, I mean, this is the exciting time. And yeah, Trey's saying also 0 days till expiration and in the money. And so yeah, so I'm gonna buy some calls on NEO this week. And so I'm like, the one I'm like eyeing for myself is I guess since I'm talking about this, because I think it's a nice example for options, and I will post on the channel's community page what I end up doing. But just because they have earnings coming up, I think it's like a fun play. So I'm just like excited about it. But so for NEO, I'm not necessarily looking, I'm going to switch this over to like 6, I think is all I need. For like June 21st, that's when I'd probably buy the call for that expiration. And so with the $5 strike, so currently in the money, that's $70. So for me, like I'd be willing to risk $70 to buy one of those contracts and hold it for a few weeks and see what happens, or just hold it following earnings and see what happens. And yeah, but so I do that $5 strike for that just because I feel like, and also, basically whatever price ends up doing, I'd be okay to buy 100 shares at $5 a share come June 21st. So that's like the other reason why I'd like doing the in the money call options. But as far as like whether it's in the money or out of the money, 0 days till expiration, like I would rather like, yeah, I mean, I guess um, for me, like right now this week, like I would like to buy 100 shares, $5 a share, but um, I don't have that much on the side right now. So that's kind of also why I'm looking for like June 21st, whether I want to buy, whether I want to exercise that contract to get more shares, or if I just want to swing it, make some money, still hold the shares that I have. But as far as like this week's expiration, depending on what price does the next couple days, because these are, this like the $5, or I guess I should say the $6 strike, that's out of the money with price being below $6. It costs $18 to get one of those contracts right now. So what I will probably do is I'm going to wait until Wednesday to see where the price is at. And I would imagine that, so this theta decay is like 2.5 cents per day it goes down as far as my understanding of theta decay goes. And so that would mean that, if price stays at this level and this would then decay over the course of the next 3 days by 7.5 cents. This would then be worth around 10 to 12 cents or $10 to $12 per contract. And so it's like, then I would maybe FOMO. I don't know if it's FOMO really. Yeah, I guess it would be. Buy a contract that's out of the money at $6 a share, because then it's like, well, I'd risk $10, $12 at that point, thinking that, price will be going higher. And then they have their earnings Thursday morning. So then that would allow for all of trading to be carried out Thursday and Friday. And so whether or not price is above $6, there could be some volatility right after earnings. And so that's intriguing to me. But $5 in the money, I think that will be closing. So that could definitely be exercised. There might be an ad popping up. Just noticed that. So yeah, I mean, with NEO, I feel like over the course of the next month, this is going to be above $6 a share. Over the course of this week, I think it very well could be, but this is getting really risky, getting so close to expiration. And for me, it's like $59 for a $5 strike for this week. I'd rather spend $11 more to get one that expires 2 weeks later, because then it gives me more time to then either swing the contracts and just make money on the premium if price does go to $6 or $7, or just gives me more time to think about it. Do I want to exercise it if it does close well above 5? And so I think that's like, if you get into a position with options when it's like, oh, expiration is like tomorrow, then it kind of forces your hand. But if there are 3 weeks between now and expiration, you have a little bit more flexible, more options to handle your options. So yeah, I mean, I just think, this looks like a bull flag, inverse head and shoulders. And, at the base of this falling wedge and in the wedge. So, I mean, I guess you could make the argument that it could drop to test the bottom of the wedge. But I just think that what it needs to get above 6 is a push. And I think earnings could be lined up perfectly for that push. So that's my thesis. I will risk $100 to $200 on it. And if I lose that, it's a good lesson learned. So I'm okay with that. And so plug was mentioned. So I'll go over this. I did just do the video on it, so I don't really have too much to say. And since I do have work tomorrow and I've been streaming for more than an hour, I might actually just skip plug. But yeah, I mean, I think that the chart just looks beautiful. I think it's going much higher, and it did move. So this was the 14th. If we look over at GameStop, it was red day, but the 14th was when it hit that high. Same with AMC. And so, yeah, I think all three of these could be much higher by the end of this week or the week after. But since Plug doesn't have earnings this week and Neo does, that's why I'm going to do the in the money calls on Neo. But actually, I could look over at the options here, and let's first explore max pain with Plug. Yeah, I mean, I have a hard time moving on to the next ticker. I know I need to look at Sam. Sorry, going so slow. So for this week, max pain is $3. I believe it's $3, and it goes to like $3.50 or something. $3, and for the monthly contract on the 21st, $3.50. Price is currently at $3.30, and so yeah, I mean like $3 a share with max pain the next couple weeks. I feel like that's a little risky, but with doing monthly contracts, they tend to be a little bit different, a little bit offset from the weekly ones. And so a $3 strike for that, $48. And like I said, I think this one's more risky because price is so close to it. But if it does rally a bunch, yeah, I mean this maybe I'll pick up $48. Dang it. I actually need to write this down. So Neo call expiring 6/21, strike of, is it $3? I think $3. Dang it. Is that right? I'm just going to pull it up. Oh, no. Yeah, I think, no. What was I thinking about with this? $5. What am I thinking? And that would be at a cost of 70 cents or $70. And so Plug, I'd be interested in the $3 strike for 48 cents. Yeah, I'm just like very interested in calls. I feel like it's a really nice way to make some money, and it's like in and out more or less. And that's at 48 cents. So I think those are interesting. Let's look at the open interest though. Where are people positioning themselves? So over here for this range, the highest is like 4. So here the highest is 3.5, and then here the highest is 4, 23,000. And I'm gonna just expand this to include more options to see. Yeah, look, 7.5. Yeah, so man, I think this is looking good. Oh my God. I mean, but these are also like YOLO, or not necessarily YOLO, but they're like, who gives a shit? Because it's $4 per contract. But I mean, you get a lot of contracts at 62,000. That's a lot of money. But $10, I think it's out of the money, so it's risky. So that makes me feel pretty confident in the $3 strike, $48. I think that's a worthwhile swing. So yeah, Plug and Neo. I'm interested in both of those for the June 21st. So we'll see. I'll post the in the money calls that I buy tomorrow on the community page. So yeah, hopefully that was helpful. I'm excited about this week and the weeks after, and I will catch up on the requests. And so I see Plug, and then John requested Block, so I'll go over that, see what's going on with them. So yeah, this has been coming down a lot. If I were to do a retracement, I'm going to do kind of two retracements. One from the low here, $38.85. And actually, during that dip, I had bought just one share at $39, and I swung it, I think, for, I don't know, $10 profit or something. I could have held it, for more than 2x, but whatever. So coming up to here, price is coming down to the 50% level. It's at like $63, or over here, price is, breaking below the 382. That's at 64. And so from this, the 50% retracement is at like $60. Let's see, golden pocket is just below 59, so that purple line. So I could see this coming down to that purple line. I mean, it's kind of arbitrary. But I think this could be going lower. Let's see, volume profile. It is at that point of control, but it did wicked below, closed above. So maybe that's a good dip buying opportunity right there. Actually, no. I mean, is that right? Lines keep getting adjusted. It's right around that point of control. Depends on the scale that I'm looking at. I zoom in, I zoom out, it adjusts a little bit. Maybe there's a double bottom. It's like a low of 62. What was the low on Friday? 62.46. Could definitely be a double bottom there. And so what I might do, I'm going to remove this volume profile. It's just a little cluttered. Let's see. Yeah, so what if, from the low here, just being approximate, it pulled back to like 50%. I could see this being a double bottom. I'm not sure about fundamentals or anything going on. But yeah, if I were to place a bet on this, I would say it's likely to bounce maybe just up to this white line around $67. Maybe it gets up to some levels up here, $70, $72, $71.50. But maybe it gets rejected there and pulls back. But I could see this being like a double or I guess triple bottom here before it bounces. Because we do see that wick coming down. Although, you know, the close was still lower than any of these. So I guess if there's a close below 62.46, it's continuing down. If it continues to reside around here and volume dies down, that could be a bottom sign and that it's going back up. But yeah, I like the bottom being here and it going back up. That strikes me as being most compelling. But it could also continue to go down. But yeah, I mean, it pulled back to the 50%. So yeah, it's double bottom. And so yeah, I'm not buying it, but I'm intrigued, I guess. Not intrigued to buy it, but I think the chart suggests it's going to go higher. And I'm pretty sure I do have that on the DGen ed list. Yep, I'll delete that. So hopefully that was helpful. And I'm going to delete Neo because I've gone over that, as well as Plug. And hopefully I'm getting to Sam. And Sam looks good. Yeah, so Kevin, finally, I will get to your request. And so this 22% up, pretty massive, bullish engulfing candle. Well, not necessarily. I mean, it's engulfed all of these, but it did, let's see, Thursday's close or low, well, let's see, open, wait, no, close was $256.41, whereas the open was $256.61. So almost bullish engulfing, but not quite. But still, I mean, it's engulfed a lot of these prior candles. Lots of volume on the up move, so looking good. I'd like to see it close above like this high, which was $318. I think that's pretty important to get rejected from that level. But if we do look at this, let's see. I guess, man, this seems like it's gone down quite a lot. Yes. Wow. This is crazy. Why is it down so much? Those are all just earnings. There's no crazy. Yeah, let's see. What's the volume profile suggest? It's at like the volume point of control. Or sorry, yeah, point of control, volume point of control. Same thing, I think. Yeah, I mean, maybe this could be pulling back to 300, 297. But I feel like, yeah, and actually pulling back to like, or 293 maybe. Corresponding with like, you got this big candle that went higher, but you kind of have like a lot of overlap between these candles, wicks here. At this level, you got the volume shelf sticking out there. So I could see price pulling back to 295 to 290. And that might be a really, really good dip buying opportunity. So Yeah, I think this chart looks really good. It's just expensive per share. I don't usually go for stocks this much per share. I'm lame, but the chart looks good. I think, yeah, and there's just all this upside. But yeah, I mean, like there's, let's see, did it fill? Yeah, I mean, the gap here based on this close, 371.6, wait, no, sorry, the close, 370.06. And so that is still, from closing price, that is still up 17, 18%. And so up to that level, maybe it'd get into some resistance, but like going back to this is over a year ago. Let's see, volume profile. Yeah, there's not too much going on up there. And once it does get up to fill that gap, yeah, I mean there's not much going back pretty far in time. There's not much traded above that level until, yeah. So I think the chart looks good. And I think like pullbacks could be to 290 to 300. It could be good dip buying or dip adding levels. So cool chart with massive green move, big company, market cap 3.75 billion. So that could be just, a good long-term hold. And so and then let's see, I see. But yeah, so Kevin, with the room to fall on Sam, I think coming down to like 300, 290 would be good adding levels. And then did see a tweet and GameStop being up in overnight trading. So I will look at that just on Robinhood. I'm just pulling it up on my phone because I don't really do Robinhood on my computer. Let's see. Guess what? I now have one share of GameStop in my Robinhood account. So my order was filled at $27.58. And now I'm going to have to maybe cancel some of my daily crypto buys, which are just like $1 to $3 a day. So yeah, we'll have to see what happens with GameStop, but I didn't want to be FOMOing in. I've already done it, so I set it, forget it. And let's see, SPY options is what Trey's saying. That's where 100% of my focus is going, but still just trying to learn such a complex tool. So for me, like let's look at, let's see, indexes, SPY. Which do you usually trade? Does SPX have options? Yes, but it's probably really expensive because it's like $5,000. SPY will be a little bit cheaper, but these are still, yeah, I mean, because you're risking over $100 for one that's even out of the money. It's closing this week. And let's see what the theta decay is on these. So that's, yeah, like every day these are going to drop in value by 20 cents, which is equivalent to like $20. So that's for these options for this week. Yeah, and so for me, like a thing that discourages me about options is it's like I don't own 100 shares of the SPY, but I still have to put up $100 and I could lose that if it closes out of the money on Friday. And so let's see, where do we think chart's going? I think that the top could be in. And yeah. Yeah, so I'm not too familiar with options with SPY or NASDAQ or anything like that. But this could be, double top, higher high, and that the bottom, not the bottom, the top could be in. But maybe we do see another rally. And so, yeah, I mean, you just have a bearish engulfing candle here at the top that engulfs like all of these candles. And almost engulfing this one here, but engulfs all of those. And yeah, this close, I don't know. I think that I think that's yeah. So with SPY and stuff, I think price is probably going down long term. But as far as weekly contracts go or monthly, um, yeah, I don't like pay close enough attention to the SPY to want to do options. Whereas like I feel like I pay a lot of attention to the Neo chart, the plug chart, and so I'd be interested in doing options with those. AMC makes a lot of sense considering what Roaring Kitty's doing with GameStop. It's more affordable. And, for me, I have a much larger position in AMC. So I'm just intrigued by that. But it's like, do I want to add 100 more shares or should I try getting better with calls? So I do that. And then American Airlines, that's just like came back to a key level I think it will be respecting. The SPY is like, yeah, I don't know that it's going much higher, but maybe puts. I don't know. For me, I uh, get exposure to the SPY or the Nasdaq by shorting them with either S ticker symbol SH, which is short the SPY S&P 500, or SPXU, which is short but leveraged, and then the SQQQ, which is leveraged short the Nasdaq, or QQQ, or triple Qs, the Qs. But yeah, I'm going to switch back over to the requests, and so let's see. And Robert, yeah, DFV. So what I might do is I don't have too many more requests or many more requests in the chat. What I might do is try to go over some of these tickers that were pretty much straight up requested via comments. I'm probably not going to have time to go over all of them because, yeah, people aren't requesting them here. Forward, I've gone over this, so I'm going to take it off the list here. But yeah, I think this one I was, yeah, I mean, I think that there could be a pullback with this to like $14 or $15. But that's kind of mapped out here with this pullback there. So yeah. Yes, Ricardo, I will pull up SOXS as well, SOXS, which is, I think, 3x leveraged short semiconductors. I always forget it. I'm pretty sure it's 3x leveraged. 300, yep. Okay, and so with this, I believe I added to my position. I bought one more share at like 25, 23, I think, something around there. And I think it could be going lower. Especially, I mean, yeah, there's this big wick on Friday. Good amount of volume. I mean, it did go up. So maybe it will still go higher. Did close above this prior low. If I look over it, like I feel like NVIDIA is like a really good one to be. I gotta delete all of this stuff from when I did their earnings call. Yeah, so looking at this chart, this is on the daily. There aren't necessarily topping signals because this is not a bearish engulfing candle. It didn't like go higher and like completely engulf all of these candles. This gap is almost filled. I mean, I could see it going higher. I mean, I'm just, at this point, I'm not surprised with NVIDIA or whatever semiconductor stock going higher. And so for me with semiconductors, I'm just like, oh, well, I'll just keep adding on dips, get my average lower. This is SOXX. This is the long semiconductor ETF, which is similar to SMH, Shake My Head, or semiconductor ETF. And this one actually, yeah, I mean, this one looks like it may be, will continue higher because there was this wick lower than the previous all-time high, but then it closed above. So it could potentially go higher. I'm assuming SOXX actually doesn't look as strong because it did close lower. Didn't really get much higher than this high, which was 239.77. Just got $4 higher than that. whereas SMH went more than $10 higher. So, but yeah, SOXS, I mean, I'm probably not adding to many positions this week because I'm excited about Neo and Plug and calls, and because I don't get paid until Friday. So I'll be more aggressive, not this week, but next week. And I just like start of the month, bills due, all of that. So, yeah, I probably won't be adding to SOXS this week. But it's always just like, casual adding a little bit as it comes down. I can tell you what my average is if you're curious. And again, it's like not a large position. I've just been slowly accumulating this over the course of the year. Let's see, I just got to pull it up on my phone. And so SOXS, I have 16 shares, so nothing crazy. And my average is 35.23. So right around here. So I'm in the red quite a lot, but that's not too bad. 16 shares. I did sell a covered call before the reverse split that just recently expired. And so that was kind of nice. I made money on those shares and was able to get them back. And the price that I did buy at this week, one share, 25.23. So I was on the 28th, which was, on this day. So I could have bought lower, but I'm happy I bought. Just continue to get my average down as price goes lower, not doing it too aggressively. But yeah, I think that these will be worth a lot more as soon as like NVIDIA starts putting in its top. And and let's see here. We've got this. I don't know that this is going to be useful at all, but I'm just going to do it as kind of curiosity. Coming up to here and then going up down to this. Almost made it to the 50%. That's 12. Yeah, and I think I saw somebody talking about NVIDIA going to like 2,000 or something. Yeah, I mean, these are just monsters, and they're just going to keep growing, going higher. So yeah, I'll continue to hold the bag on SOXS, but I'm not worried about it. I think eventually there will be a reckoning, and then I'll add more aggressively when I feel like it's definitely found a bottom. But yeah, let's see. I want to go to requests. And so, do I invest in SMH? I mean, if you want to go long semiconductors, I think that it could be a good play for maybe a couple months, maybe to the end of the year. But I think overall that semiconductors will be topping at some point. So, yeah, I mean, because these have just been from down here, that's up 200%. And yeah, from that same point, NVIDIA, which has been like driving the SPY and all of this stuff higher, that's up almost 1,000%. This is a huge company, market cap of 2.7 trillion. It was just recently breaking 2 trillion. So that's a ton of money going into this. And I think it's over, it's getting to be overbought. And this, I mean, here, this is the daily time frame, but you have much higher high here, but you're not doing much higher in the RSI. It's a lower high. That's bearish divergence. We switch over to the weekly time frame. Same deal. And on the weekly time frame, that looks like a topping signal with NVIDIA. That there's this blow off spinning top. Is that a shooting star? Let's look up shooting star pattern. Shooting star pattern. Or is that an evening star? That looks like it's an evening star because it's gone up. So I'm not going to get into all of that. But yeah, it looks like an evening star because a shooting star is really like an inverse hammer, it looks like. I'm not finding any. So, oh yeah, Investopedia, Shooting Star. That's like this. So it's a little bit different. But yeah, I mean, this to me looks like maybe next week we see the price come down a bunch, and then that's an evening star, and that's bearish. That's a topping signal. And yeah, and like over here, volume up high. But then volume comes down even though a higher move was put in. So if price is going up and volume's going down, that means the top is potentially coming in. Yeah, because whenever there's divergence, stock price versus volume, then it means likely a reversal to the downside. So hopefully that's helpful. And so I'm just going to type up so I can see Ariana's comment, why the beep is Roaring Kitty and ASRT. He just revealed his portfolio. I don't know that that's true, so I will not suggest that it is. But let's see. I got a notification on here, so Roaring Kitty, another post. So, no. Let's see. So that was just from here. Yeah, this is all Roaring Kitty posted. Everybody always talks about Roaring Kitty being about other stocks. He's about GameStop. He doesn't, he's about retail and he's about GameStop. So I think that ASRT could definitely be going higher. I did go over that at the beginning of the stream. So I do think that's quite possible. But I think rather than going over the rest of the stocks on this list, I think I might wind the stream down unless there are any kind of like last minute requests. From this list, Questive, Barnes & Noble, Fever, Cassava, Sunpower, or Viking Therapeutics. I'll give you guys a couple of minutes to let me know which ones you want me to go over, and then I'll close on those. Otherwise, I'll just wind the stream down. And before I do that, I will throw up this. If you guys do enjoy the content, make sure you like it and always share your thoughts, whether that's in the live chat or in the comments down below. I always try to respond to the comments. Usually I just go on like a comment responding spree on Sundays before I do the live streams, and I try to add whatever tickers people had mentioned in the comments to the list here. But I can't get to all of them because there are a lot of them, and so I try to go with the ones that people are engage with me about in the live chat, just to be fair. So yeah, let me know if I missed any, but I do think that these y'all look good. And actually, I might pull up Sunpower. Yeah, wow. This looks like it's broken out as well. This is the weekly time frame, and yeah, this chart looks cool. 334 was at a low of $1.67, pulled back, and wow, let's see, did I draw that to the penny? I did. So yeah, pulled back to the 786, looks pretty beautiful. Looks like it might be getting rejected from right around the 50% retracement at like 370, maybe going to test 324, but it effectively kind of did that on Friday. And so with that, yeah, I mean, I don't know, but this also does look like double top, higher high. There's no bearish divergence in this, but it does look like it, broke out. And so I could see this rallying as well. Potentially, I mean, there's a gap right here. The close on the 14th, May 14th, was $4.39. And so just getting up to that level is 30% swing to the upside. So there's something there. Pretty safe in and out, seems like it. But yeah, if there are no other requests, I'm going to wind this down so I'm not too exhausted starting the week. But I will be streaming, let's see, for, I think ChargePoint is after hours on Wednesday, and Neo, excuse me, is pre-market on Thursday. I'll definitely be streaming them, and I'll be posting some in the money call options that I opened this week. on the community tab of the channel. If you guys are curious, not trying to suggest people participate in what I'm doing. I'm just trying to share that, the stuff I talk about in the videos, I'm actually doing, and my positions are pretty small. I'm not reckless with any of this stuff. I'm just trying to get more comfortable putting my money where my mouth is, because I'm just going to pull up SoFi here. I did not put my money where my mouth was with SoFi. I just stayed out of it. But right before their earnings call, I was suggesting price could be going down to 6. And it broke below 7, came down to a low of 661. I could have made money if I had bought some puts, if I had conviction in my analysis. I didn't do that just because I didn't want to be taking on that risk. But now, I'm buying some in-the-money calls on some stocks that I think, I'd be happy to exercise, buy the shares at the strike. And yeah, so that's Neo and Plug basically are the ones that I'm really interested in right now. But, before I do close the stream, I will pull up GameStop and I will see what the price is trading at. Let's see. In the overnight trading, still at 27.58, so it's flat, which is kind of crazy. But, it is what it is. I think that we're going to be seeing some more volatility to the upside this week and next week, whether that's GameStop, AMC, I think Plug Power, I think Neo, related to their earnings, though, not related to these other stocks and the meme stocks. And also, it does seem like a lot of the tickers that you guys have been requesting does suggest that, I just think that, a lot of the stocks that retail's pretty invested in or pretty interested in, I think that they're just kind of popping right now. And so I think that we're just, at a really good time in the market. It's not going to last forever, though, so do be cautious about that. GameStop, I think by the end of, not necessarily this week, I think that by the end of next week or in the span of this week to the end of next week, I think we could be seeing triple-digit pricing on GameStop. So that's 4x from the closing price on Friday. And one thing I also do want to note is that when we have seen these gaps to the upside, they did end up getting filled. So if we're gapping up tomorrow, if let's say you decide in the middle of the day tomorrow, if price is at $38 a share, maybe it's a good idea to say, wait, maybe I don't want to be FOMOing in if there's a gap to the downside, because gaps do tend to get filled, and maybe wait to maybe go heavier when that gap's filled. But I also think that, if, one is to FOMO into a position at 38, and it's like, wait, I'll wait for a pullback for this gap to be filled, and then you don't FOMO in, or this whatever hypothetical person doesn't FOMO in at 38, goes up to 45, and then it's like, oh, I missed it, I'm going to FOMO in at 45, and then it pulls back and fills that gap. So I think it can be pretty dangerous. So I think it's good to, go over the charts in your own platform. Make sure you draw the lines that make sense to you, Fibonacci retracements, extensions, or just trend lines, whatever. And, maybe pick levels that are, I want to add at these levels, or I want to trim at these levels, or whatever. I think with GameStop, like I said, I think it's going to be going up to triple digits. So I don't think trimming is necessarily a good idea. The next couple days at least, see what's going on with the price. AMC, same thing. I think that if GameStop's going up to triple digits, I think AMC, could be coming back to fill this gap maybe around $44. But maybe it stops around 20. Who knows? But yeah, hopefully that was all helpful for you guys. I've been streaming for about an hour and 49 minutes, and I got to get going to bed because I got to be up at work early, and also just got to, get oriented with the charts and stuff before I go to work so I can partake in the markets from my phone. But I will have a couple videos out tomorrow evening after I get done with work. I'm not sure what they are just yet. But yeah, I'll try to have those out. And, if you guys have requests, let me know. And I'm not working Wednesday and Thursday, so I'll be able to do some of the earnings live streams, and we'll probably get some more videos out then as well. But yeah, thank you so much for hanging out. It's been really fun. I hope you guys had a great weekend, are excited for the week ahead. it should be pretty crazy. So good to, have a plan. Like I have this little notepad here. I noted the Neo and plug calls that I want to get. And yeah, we'll see if those orders get filled. I'll post them on the channel on the community page if you guys are curious. But yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.